Well, hello, hello, hello. As I get things set up here, just curious about what people think. I saw a whole bunch of people in the Discord in another room. They can leave there if they want to. Don't want to disrupt their conversation. Just setting up my other little computer here so I can see what I'm doing while I'm doing this. Been putting out a lot of videos. We had the Peterson Sam Harris video, which there were a number of opinions, which I found very interesting. I'm still not finished with the Joe Rogan stuff. Let's see. Live here.
Do I get to be in this?
Ah, she came in. Hey, Andrea, how are you?
I really wanted it, Paul.
Well, you received it. You are here. How are you?
You know what? Do I need to? I have to be honest because I can't lie. It's been a bit rough.
Oh.
I've received I got a ticket for having my phone, for being on my phone, like on speaker. I thought it was okay to be on speaker on your phone, but no, not while you're holding it.
Oh, no, you can't touch it while you drive.
No, I did not.
They will give you a ticket for that.
I'm a little bit of a naive
one.
Anyways, so that's that. And go to check the mail. Guess what's waiting in the mail for me? A police. So it's from the police department. What could this be? Another ticket.
2 tickets for what?
For like a red light. My husband received one. So that was a nice present.
Wow, lovely.
He doesn't actually know yet. I have to tell him. I was going to wait till he finishes class. Anyway, so I was just like really honest there. So we can move on.
Oh, well. Here we have the sort of the usual regulars for the afternoon crew. You can turn on your camera, Andrea, or does not work?
Yeah,
for you
I'm
now?
just switching over to my computer from my phone.
Oh, okay. How are you doing, Mark?
How
are you doing, Al?
I am super depressed, so I bought myself tacos, and that's helping.
Tacos.
It's not perfect.
That's better than those serotonin uptake inhibitors.
We're just all having a great day.
I would never do that. So, yeah, we got tacos. They're looking pretty good. I got them delivered. Like ultimate in laziness.
Oh, you got a good taco delivery place near you?
Well, I've got Uber Eats. Well, sometimes, not always, because I do live in the woods, but I'm on the outskirts of the city. So,
okay,
it's 6 miles away. Like everything's there, Chipotle and, Five Guys and all kinds of crazy stuff. But it's 6 miles away, and that 6 miles is emptiness.
Well, it's trees.
It's trees.
Yeah. And then what about the trees? Trees have feelings, maybe.
Yeah, trees.
Trees definitely have feelings. I can confirm. And I was in your road. So what is going on with the server? This is week 2 of super busy Discord server.
Really?
It's been amazing. Oh yeah, it's been packed. So I was talking with everybody out there about meditation. They're bothering me about meditation. Although I got accused of, well, not accused. That's probably too harsh, but I'm harsh. So whatever. Wait, you need to submit to the Catholic Church because your family was Catholic. And I was like, not really, because they didn't go. And then it got it quickly into, well, if you didn't go and that wasn't part of your family thing, and what are you doing? Why do you need to do that? So that was a fun conversation.
So the estuaries.
He wants me to be Pope.
You too? I thought we were going to have Chad for Pope.
Well, Chad is reticent. So I was like, well, I'm going to get Casey Pope. And then I talked to Adam about it. And he's like, well, look, I think you can be a cardinal. And I'm like, I think so too, dude. I don't think there's much in the requirements for cardinal. And it turns out there's not. So we just got to find somebody to make me a cardinal. And then I can vote on Pope and Casey's in. Because
but then he's going to have to relocate to the Vatican.
Yeah, but see, this is perfect because he's not going to want to do it, but he'll do it. He'll do all the right things, make a bunch of changes, and then decide the only way out is to abolish the papacy altogether. And then I will get what I want. He will get what he wants, and the world will be saved. That's the plan.
You just want access to the Pope mobile, though. Like that's what the end game is, really.
No, I'm not going anywhere near it. I'm just sending him out to do the work.
I had a funny thought where we'll start the Cleveland papacy.
Cleveland papacy.
I couldn't think of anything worse.
I think the papacy should relocate to Cleveland. I think. Well, Ohio's an up and coming place. What is Ohio getting recently? They're going to make chips in Ohio. Intel's going to make chips in Ohio, something like that. So Ohio's
the foundations of America, like anti-papacy, anti-popery.
Yeah, they really are. They really are. So Andrea,
I'm bringing it real to be really fun here. Sorry, what?
No, you've been crushing it on Twitter. That picture of your grandparents or great grandparents and your black and white.
Okay. That wasn't my grandparents. Sorry.
What?
That was just a picture. No, I never said they were mine. I just said they were your grandparents' age.
Oh, who were they?
It's all a facade. I just it's Valentine's. A lot of vintage, happy, just pictures of couples are floating around the vintage Instagram.
But that's what gave the picture magic.
I feel like I should have left it. I'm sorry, I ruined it. I ruined the mystique.
He enchanted the picture. Come on,
I should have just been like, mm-hmm.
Yeah. How did the talk go with Mark? When is that one released?
He's right here. So it actually went really good. It was funny because I'll probably do it in about a week, like release it in about 5 days to a week. But I said, so this is actually a compliment, but it's not going to sound like a compliment, but it is. I didn't have to write any notes and write anything down for this talk because I was that confident in it being just, we don't need notes. Where we're going, we don't need notes.
Wow.
The spirit emerged naturally, and she had faith that the spirit would emerge from the comment. I thought it went really well, and I look forward to see if I made any sense to anyone else, because I think Andrea actually got some of what I was saying. So
I did. No, but the funny thing is, because I released that little my monologue 5-minute monologue,
which I loved. That was great.
I just love that you called it a monologue, Paul. I was like, 5 minutes. It is 5-minute monologue. Yes, I will work my way up to an hour.
We'll see. You should strive to be at 5 minutes. An hour is too long. 2-3 hours.
I'm just joking about being like how your monologues are. But no, but I made that the night before I spoke with you, Mark. Like I actually made that before I spoke with you, and so much of what we touched on was like I wasn't trying to draw from that, but it was I didn't even bring these things up. It was like really, really. Yeah, it was just like, it was the vibe was like the spirit of enchantment was in the air.
Ooh,
right.
Wonderful. Well, Mark's a talker, Mark on there, it's going to go fine.
Yeah. I have to decide if I want to pare it down at all. It's like an hour 45, so we'll see.
Big one. Oh, that's good.
I expect you to watch this one though, Paul.
Here's the I feel so much guilt with this. People are always sending me videos. It's like, and Mark, I really feel guilty about Mark. I owe Mark so much.
Well, this is why I'm the good gateway to Mark, because okay, you have your seasons for watching my channel. I know you do.
That's very true.
This is you can just fall back in
because I usually leave a comment. If I watch, I leave a comment.
Yes, you do. So we just did it. You just gave me the 5 minutes of your time. Appreciated. Thank you. But this way, you're like, oh, I'm already clicking on Andrea with the bangs. Click again. Oh, there's Mark. I am paying tribute to Mark. And oh, look, there's his channel. Like that's linked in Andrea's little description. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy, friends. It's a gateway. I'm the gateway drug to
Mark.
The topic is irresistible. Like,
It really
who want
is.
to hear about the precursor to the meaning crisis, which is the intimacy crisis? How can we
Oh,
resist
good
that
topic.
call?
Yeah, I picked it. It was me.
Good topic.
No. Excellent, perfect topic. And she was the perfect person to talk about it first, because I've been agonizing over this for like a year. Like, oh, I know there's something here and I want to talk about it. And I know I shouldn't do it, on my own, right? I need that divine feminine energy to manifest. And like, could you ask for better? No, you could not. It would be
Okay now. Okay.
Let's say,
That's
so
nice.
Grim Grizz wants me to ask Andrea if she likes being Agent Carter.
Oh. I mean, it depends. It depends on the day. I mean, today I'm an 80s, 90s housewife mom. Like, look at this. Like, actually, like, this is like, it's like a pinafore that's from Austria. So
Wow. And here's Topher the Salty. I haven't talked to Topher for a long time. How are you, Topher? He's not ready for sound. He's just
he's not talking to us. He doesn't love us.
the nice little toque.
Can't blame him for that.
Excuse my Canadianese. Toque.
Duke.
Beanie.
I got to tell you, it's 68 degrees and sunny in California today. It's going to be in the 70s this week.
Well, it was plus 10, which is, I think, 50. So we're doing pretty well in Canada.
That's pretty good.
Oh, wow. That's not bad.
Yeah.
In February.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good for Canada in February.
And points, yes, Andrea, for having pictures of the mountains in your video.
I took that. Yeah, that's like that's one of my favorite photographs I've ever taken. But like, I put it up on Twitter, and someone was like, "Well, like in some locations, it's really like the setting that does the work for you." And I was like, "Thanks for stealing my authorship of this photograph."
They lied to you, Andrea. Who are they?
I did good framing of that. I framed it like.
Give me an address. Well, I'll take care of them. We know how to do these things in Boston.
Okay.
I gotta have Kermit sit up straight.
I'm so glad. I'm here because that's why I wanted to be part of this. I needed to tell you face to face. Okay, Jonathan is a fox and Vervaeke is an owl.
Fox and owl?
It just because like the fox isn't a wolf, right? He's just enough to pick at things, and he's clever.
That's good.
To kind of reveal your like the unseen. That's good. Then I don't know, I'm just thinking of the professor that was like the lollipop guy. How many licks to get to the center of the lollipop? Do you remember that guy?
I'm trying to keep it animals. Owl. Although, Burn.
No, Power. He's an owl. He's an owl. That's an animal. Oh, wait,
that's true. That's true.
A bird, but it's still an animal.
That's true.
It's still an animal's fault.
No, Burn Power had something to say about these soft, plushy American puppets, sort of, the decline of puppetdom. So, but I'm going to keep them anyway.
Oh, marionettes versus stuffed animals. Those are creepy as all get out, though.
They're supposed to be creepy.
Like Howdy Doody? Frick, that's a creepy dude.
Hey, here's Richard.
A Calvinist with a marionette? Yeah, no thanks. That's creepy.
It's life imitating art imitating life. It's too...
Behold. We got all sorts of folks popping in. All right.
Do you have a topic in mind, Paul?
Well, I want to. So, I was a little salty for Sam Harris. He just triggers me. And then people are, I'm not being, and Nate Heil's response to my videos, that was the surprise.
What was it?
Oh, Nate was not having it. You're mocking Sam Harris. You shouldn't do that. It's like, well, I got a little weakness for mocking.
That
Manuel.
So, yeah, go ahead, Mark. Sure.
Yep, Manuel was on that train until he started to listen to your video, and he said, "Wait a minute, he gave Sam Harris credit here." And my argument was, no quarter for Sam Harris. Sorry, I'm a full no, right? And he said, well, he treats Vervaeke better. And I said, okay, if anything, he needs to treat Vervaeke more like Harris. Manuel and I went back and forth on that. but then he said no, he definitely gave Harris credit. So Manuel and I, the last Sam Harris video we tried to watch, we were 10 minutes in and we were both like on the ceiling and click, we couldn't watch it anymore. So I'm probably going to watch yours, Paul, because Manuel read a bunch of the comments on your video and they were like fascinating. I was like, ooh, that sounds like a good comment.
Yeah, the comments were interesting. So, and we have a new face in here. I don't think I've met you.
Nahama, hi.
Nahama,
nice to meet
welcome.
You.
Nice to meet you. I don't think I've seen you on the Discord before.
Very new. I've been enjoying your Discord. It's a really lovely place. I've been meeting some interesting people and learning a lot of new words.
There are a lot of interesting people, and they do use strange words.
Sorry you had to meet me then. But
yeah.
She came as a result of the other live stream there, Paul.
Okay.
She's hiding that fact, but now you drew her in with the Bachelorette talk. Maybe not that part specifically, but
well, welcome. And it's not my Discord. I'm connected to the Discord. I am an admin.
You're the patriarch. You're the patriarch.
I'm the patriarch. Is that for the beard? It gives me patriarch status.
I think
I've seen a few of Andrea of your. Yeah, I've seen a few of your videos as well, so it's really lovely to see you. I've enjoyed them.
Oh, it's nice. I'm just happy to see another lady.
Here I am.
Not many on the Discord. So.
No, the gentlemen think I'm here for a husband. I have a Jewish background, so I have a strong preference there. So I don't know that that's what I'll find, but who knows?
Well, we've got Jacob.
Okay.
I have met Jacob, yes.
We've got a single Jewish man.
That one.
Oh gosh! Yes. Oh, you are playing a game.
Oh, look at Andrea.
Can't handle it.
Oh. My grandmother, she's like, "You're a guy, you're a girl. There you go. It's done. That's it. Yeah. That's all you need."
That's kind of true. That's kind of true. So, and Chad the alcoholic came in, and then someone just left. So yeah. Any other feedback on the? I mean, we got the Joe Rogan stuff too. I don't know what anybody wants to bring up.
Well, yeah, I wanted to go to St. Harris because like I just finished it on the way home from school, and then I got like 5 minutes into your commentary, and I had already heard from people that you were pretty salty on about St. Harris, but so. With that in mind, throughout the whole Sam Harris conversation, I was surprised with how much I was appreciating it. I really want to go back to it because there were a lot of points where it's like, oh, like that's Peugeot, and I'm like, oh, that's like very God number one from Sam Harris, right? And so I think he grasped it. But he has this deep-seated bias against organized religion that is preventing him from seeing the source of those things is rooted in those organized religions. But like, and I suspect that I'm probably still more entrenched in that new atheist thinking because I grew up with it and I'm not as far from it as a lot of you are. And so I'm more okay with it, I guess. I'm working on it. But.
Okay. I did a good conversation today with a guy who's got he started his own little YouTube channel, and he talked quite a bit about Sam Harris, and he's a Sam Harris fan, so I'm hoping he said I'll be able to share that conversation with this channel too. So hopefully that'll come out soon. But so I think in tomorrow's video, I'm a little less salty. You know, I took my admonition from Nate Heil and dialed it back a little, but I think I was a little bit more I think I explained a little better why Harris is sort of peak modernity and basically why it falls apart. So, and tomorrow's video is fairly short. I didn't have much time. What was that? Oh, it must have been. Oh, it was just nothing. Okay. So hopefully, I can, hopefully I can raise more light than heat. A little heat sometimes good though. It cooks things. Don't want to eat. I don't want to eat raw.
Indominus, I think you're trying to jump in. What's up?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we hear you.
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. First of all, hi, Paul.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing all right. Been watching your stuff for a while, but first time in here.
Oh boy.
So, I just want to say thanks for all you do because you have become a pivotal point in my life, one of them. And say a prayer for me because I have a 1-hour conversation with Peugeot tomorrow.
Oh, good. Congratulations.
And may just be one of the most important conversations in my life. So,
wow. Is it going to be private or recorded?
I don't know yet. It's off of his Patreon.
Okay.
So it's one of the perks you get for supporting him.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I'm going to ask him, but I have a lot of questions, and let's just say that I'm on Nate's side of the whole Sam thing.
Yeah, I remember. I saw your comments.
I have my reasons, and one of the things I've noticed is a lot of the people who are speaking out against this have used psychedelics and mind-altering drugs.
A lot of people Nate, who are against. Say that again. I didn't quite pick it up.
Several of the people who voiced their opinion against the way you took the conversation, they've all used mind-altering drugs.
Yeah.
Including myself. I mean, I've been using medical cannabis for 10 years now. So that was something that I picked up. I'm like, okay, obviously, and I know both Sam and Jordan have used psychedelics. So.
Yep. You're gonna go into the psychedelic topic with Peugeot?
Oh, you bet.
Oh boy. he's more dogmatic on it than I am.
Oh yeah.
Well, it's not my style of conversation is not conflict. So that's one of my big issues. Like you're trying to dismantle his tower, and I'm trying to be like, okay, well, this is what we have in common. So
what do you see you have in common with Sam Harris?
A willingness to step outside of boxes.
Okay. What's the box?
Anything that smacks of dogma and an unwillingness, a hardness of heart, really. It's an unwillingness to change or be open to change. That's how I see it anyway. Like, you think you're right and you think he's wrong. That's fine. I think he's wrong too, but I also see where he's right, and I focus on that, and I try to build bridges from that.
Where do you think he's right?
Exactly what Nate was saying about the oneness, or was it Luke Thompson? The oneness behind everything. That whole experience. I don't know. I'd have to listen to the entire conversation again. I've only listened to it once.
Okay. I don't want to grill you or anything like that. So
I'm really focused on this right now. This is impromptu.
Yeah.
I'm focused on.
Yeah.
If I can try to offer a way that Sam Harris might be right, in the same way that like his critique of religion might be guilty of kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, I think people's critique of the new atheists might similarly throw some baby out with bathwater. You know, when you listen to Sam Harris or when you listen to Christopher Hitchens and you hear their kind of like just affrontedness and just absolute distaste in many cases for organized religion over the course of history, it in my opinion, it's way over the top. Like, and I think it is throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and it is it's too much. But then on the flip side, it also isn't for no reason, right? That like if we take for very seriously the human suffering around the world that has been alleviated by essentially material gains, right? That whether it's modern sanitation, modern medicine, right? Like the fact that so many women manage to successfully have children, which is so miraculous, and that so many of our children survive childhood, etc. And to the extent that like orthodox perspectives and theocratic perspectives stood in the way of those things finding their eventually happening, like to like that is something that some anger and some affrontedness about is justified. Like there's something there. And so similarly to how, like, I think Jordan is right that Sam is guilty of dismissing religion too quickly. I think to dismiss the new atheist critique is also, I think, perhaps too dismissive.
And that's been my experience as well. Like a lot of Christians that I talk to are very ready to dismiss that atheistic Sam Harris perspective out of hand, but I feel like they haven't done the work to do that, right? They're just doing it to avoid the existential questions that comes with investigating that. And like Sam Harris made me deconstruct about, when was that? 2 years ago now. And then watching your videos, Paul, got me out of that. But that watching your videos was not a propositional experience. That was a perspectival, sort of participatory, but not really, experience that got me to dismiss that. But it's like, I'm not going to dismiss it with my mouth. I can't do that yet. Like, I still need to wrestle with it and take it seriously, because perspectively, I'm still persuaded by a lot of those arguments. And if I ignore that, that'll only cause more problems down the road.
Yeah, I like I like what Richard said, for sure. I think that's a much better argument. I mean, I think part of the problem with Sam Harris and a lot of the new atheists is that they make arguments from the point of view of the reason why these bad things happened is religion, and therefore, when a lot of times their facts are wrong, they're just completely wrong, and they don't account for things happen because people do things, and they use all kinds of excuses, and they manipulate all kinds of structures, governments, churches, popes, like whatever they can, right? And so the problem that I have with Sam Harris's arguments is that most of his theological objections seem to be based on what is rightly called Western Buddhism, which is a corruption of proper Eastern Buddhism. And they pretend as though the questions raised in Western Buddhism that are unanswerable because the Westerners threw out all the stuff that looked like Christian, church father, deep biblical reading things, and just chucked it out to, no, it's all dualism. That's, it's just this, that they threw it out in the Western tradition. But they don't engage with the fact that the Eastern Buddhists don't think that at all. And they find, there's plenty of addressing of those issues in the Bible. You just have to look for them. You're not going to get it if you were traumatized when you were 12 years old out of the church, because you didn't have the deep understanding of the Bible yet. You have this very cursory reading, and maybe you were indoctrinated in Sunday school, in a bad Sunday school.
But Mark, Old Testament, God is mean.
Yes, exactly. If right, exactly. And that's the problem. And especially if it's Protestantism, because you've got the the sola scriptura nonsense, which Manuel and I have been listening to Lord of Spirits, and the the last 2 episodes we listened to, this last episode I am absolutely furious about, because this is the first one they didn't make an argument at all. They
The
just
priesthood one?
literally God has a body. That's the one we were finishing
Oh,
up.
that's where you're at. Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
you're.
It's terrible.
Oh, I don't
Like-
remember. I have to look back.
Define body. They didn't do it, because Manuel and I are like, they're going to define body, and then they're going to differentiate, an earthly body from a spiritual body. What a cool, never even, this is going to be, and they didn't do it. And I was like, what? And then they just said, well, this Bible passage says this, and therefore it means that, and it's not metaphorical, and therefore God has a body. And I was like, this is why people hate Christians. Don't make that argument. You guys have been doing
Into
such
the
a
weeds.
good
Okay,
job
Mark,
up until
Mark,
that argument.
This is getting into the weeds of Lord of Spirits. But anyways, you're bringing up Lord of Spirits in the first place about, what was that? Why did you bring them up?
Well, because again, there are these deep readings of the Bible that are possible, that are being done to engage, this enchanted way of engaging with the Bible. One of the things that Peterson does in the biblical series is he re-enchants the book, and he says, well, you can read it this way, or you can read it with this depth, with this width, with this expanding understanding of things. So you don't have to live as a traumatized, child from Sunday school. You can actually, live inside the story of the Bible.
If I could give a little we'll go Christian-y here, testimony, my experience over the past few years. So I started with Jordan Peterson, great. Then got introduced to the other intellectual dark web folks. I hadn't really listened to the new atheist people before, so that's how I was really introduced to them, and really got in. For some reason, I attracted all the atheists on Twitter. I don't know why, but the real flatlanders were just, sorry, that's metaphorical. They're not flat earthers, but spiritually flat. Anyway, so that was what I was around a lot. That's who I was interviewing a lot. And I did become disenchanted. I didn't have the words for it, but I called it my dark night of the soul. I did have those words. And that's why I found you, sir. That's why I found you, Paul. Because I was like, I'm drowning in darkness of a flat space that has no enchantment at all. And objective truth was just that's, I guess, what things are. Again, I didn't fully deconstruct, but I did enough to know I'm missing something. I was missing Vervaeke's 4 Ps is what it was. But that's why I came to Bridges. Bridges gave me new oomph, new life in the it as I was a bouncy castle that was deflated. And it gave me air to fill back up.
That's a vivid word picture.
It is. No, it is. That's actually one of the reasons why one of our members early on, he passed away, and it hit me really hard because what he told me, made me oh, okay. He said, I actually think as an atheist, it takes courage to be a person of faith. And that was manna from heaven for me. So anyway, oh good, bring in the feminine. Here come the waterworks people.
That's why we don't let women on here. All they do is cry.
It's been a long day. No, but no, I'm not bashing the new atheists, honestly. But this is the space that I was brought to. Was a very materialistic. I'd never really lived in that space before. I came from a Christian home, but online even. I was online. I wasn't even in real life talking with people. I was online, sort of going through this not real, but not spiritual, but not material, but not material. Whatever. It was almost like a contradiction of talking about materialism, but through the internet, which is not really tangible. But anyways, and so then so it led me to a place that was like a learning space. But I don't want to ever go back there, if Lord willing.
Go back where? Back
To
to
like Flatland,
Oh, okay.
to like Disenchantment, to like paper dolls.
Wow, another
Like-
vivid image. You're rolling today, Andrea.
Well, that's a preview right there of some of the stuff we were talking. It's going to come out in her video, Paul, for
Teaser.
sure.
You got to do teasers, Andrea. You got to do some
I
teasers.
know, I swear.
That was
I
it.
swear.
You got a personal teaser in the moment, live from Andrea. Come on, Paul. What more could you ask for? You are blessed.
I am blessed.
Okay.
I am
Let me
richly
get it.
blessed.
Let me get it out first, guys. Come on.
Oh, this is very, very interesting. The dogma thing comes up a lot. And I'm really curious what people's definition of dogma is.
I
Want me to be a real
liken,
Catholic?
there we go. I liken dogma to the difference between idol and icon. Like, I think it's the same broken sort of relationship. So dogma is the solidification for a starting point, for a way in. And then once you get there, what you're supposed to do is break out of it, right? You're supposed to like use that as something to hang on to get into some concept or into the faith or whatever. And then you're supposed to move past it, just like at any idol, right? You have
Well,
an
not
idol.
past it, but through it. Because that's
Well,
the idol
past it, through-
icon
Or on
distinction.
top, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, but I think yeah. Well, certainly with idol and icon, it's easy to say through. With dogma, I think it's past. Right. I think
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I'd be curious to ask you about this, Paul, because I stumbled across Louis Burkhoff doing some research for school.
Louis Burkhoff, Big Blue Book.
Yep. And he has a book on Christian dogma.
Yep.
So it's like this word dogma has shifted a lot. Right. So like what is the traditional, or not the traditional, but the older sense of the word that theologian George Burkhoff was using it in?
It just means teaching.
Really?
Okay, I have my Bible school definitions that I remember from like over 10 years ago. Okay, so there's dogma, which is like non-negotiables to be within the Christian faith. Like Jesus died for our sins, rose the third day, hypostatic union, blah, blah, blah. And then there's doctrine, which is a tier below, but it's not, it's like we have a not a complete consensus, but more or less, you know, that's a little bit more like flexible. And then under that, you have opinion.
Well, do you not think that we would have a hierarchy of truth statements? Things that we hold more securely, more centrally, and things that we hold more loosely? That doesn't seem an unreasonable thing.
So are you talking to me?
No,
I
I'm
was
not
just
talking
listing
about
my
anybody.
definitions.
I mean, because I get the sense that there's the word developed a reputation and a culture around it, and okay, that happens. I also get the sense of authority, which, you know, this gets really interesting, because I mean, part of the reason the American experiment and the rest of the Western world sort of followed America in this is they wanted to uncouple church teaching from civic affairs, and that was quite successful. But I think part of, you know, some people are a little nervous about that now as we get to the end of modernity, because we run so much on just I mean, Hume was right about a lot of inheritance that we run on. I mean, we really do. And once we sort of get to the end of the inheritance, that's when, and people start doing things differently, suddenly, or someone has a new program to remake the world. So then there's the question, well, how do we sort of sift out all of these truth statements? Because, and also part of what developed in late modernity is the rise of the subtraction story, where the idea was, well, back in the old days, churches were in control of everything. And then I'll make a statement like, well, the peak church attendance in the United States happened in the 1960s, not the 1860s, not the 1830s, not the 1760s, the 1960s. And so people's imagination of freedom and custom, I find, generally speaking, doesn't hold much historical water.
Right.
I lived for 7 years in the Dominican Republic. It was very interesting, the notions of freedom there. For example, I went to the National Zoo and pet the rhino. It was a baby rhino, but I just walked up and pet that darn rhino. That would never happen in an American zoo. Why? So who's more free? In a lot of ways, I'm more free in the U.S., partly because there's more order and more structure here, and Dominicans know that. You live in the Dominican Republic, and if you have status, you can get away with just about anything. Happen in an American zoo. Ooh, someone's got their computer on. Who's more free? A little delay. I'm more free in the U.S. It's so fun listening to myself in
there's a little bit of a baritone more in the I was like, who's the
I muted him.
The echo chamber.
Voiced man.
So, these ideas of freedom, authority, autonomy, they're quite interesting, especially if you start to move around and live in different places, because in some ways I was very free in the Dominican Republic. In other ways I wasn't, because, well, I wasn't a national, and that was obvious to absolutely everybody, the way I looked and the way I talked. But I had status and money in some ways, but I didn't have status in other ways because I was a foreigner. So, I mean, these kinds of things, and I often get the impression that, okay, dogma, and people just have this picture of some authoritative, irrational structure that's bearing down on people. And of course, history is full of authoritative, irrational structures that are bearing down on people. But, and now we're starting to get some sense of, well, they don't necessarily have to be religious structures that do that.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point, right? Because the way the new atheists use dogma, or used to use dogma originally, we'll say back in the early 90s and early 2000s, the way they were using the word, which is really important. This is to some extent what my channel, Navigating Patterns, is all about, right? We're fixing the cultural cognitive grammar, right? The way people used the word, if you listen to the definitions really closely, and I'm not saying this is easy, you can hear what they're talking about is these are truth statements, they're absolute statements, and they're tyrannizing by their nature. And I think the change in the new atheists came when they realized, wait a minute, we have scientific dogma. Yep. Hold on. We thought that the dogma was in the church. And once we got rid of that stupid church, that the dogma would go with it, because the dogma's in the church. Everybody knows the dogma's in the church. Come on, we already said that.
It's like a churchy word.
Yeah.
It's a churchy word. And it's Beetlejuice syndrome. So if I say it 3 times, it must be true. Dogma's in the church, dogma's in the church, dogma's in the church. Ha! Now it's in the church. Yeah. And then we find out it's not. And this is part of, I think, Paul, this is why I like your end of modernity, even though I hate the whole concept of modernity. I really like it when you say the end of modernity, because we're figuring out, the dogma wasn't in the church. Well, then what was it in? And modernity is really learning about these structures that we thought were tyrannizing us. Were not the things tyrannizing us. The things tyrannizing us are in us, and they're expressed out in our structures. And so we find the dogma, even though we left the church.
It's the snakes in you. Like,
that.
Back to Peterson, it's the snakes in you.
Christian would say that, Andrea.
How dare I show my cards?
And then the dogma is at the bottom of the stack. Because, one thing I would add to your 3-pronged definition of dogma, Mark, is that the way new atheists use it, they assume the dogma is false. Always.
Yeah, it's bad truth. Yeah, right.
And you can see this in Sam Harris. It's like, I can face palm to this. Where I think Sam pretty early on lays out his standard definition of dogma, which is a claim based on a claim held with insufficient evidence. And then 2 minutes later, he says that you cannot rationally persuade someone that evidence and reason are valuable. That's a dogma. Well, like, how can you not see that, bro? So, like, I can face palm to that, but like, I'm willing to forgive him there.
Well,
But like, that just goes to show that a dogma is and this is one of the things you pointed out, Paul, that got me out of New Atheism was that dogma is everywhere, and it's indispensable.
yeah, it's
It's
indispensable. You need it.
Yeah.
Yes.
We all have blind spots.
Well, not blind spots. You
Sam
need
has
rules. You need structure, or, I mean, just
you
run
need
a
a starting
family without one. Ain't gonna
Yeah.
work.
You at least need a starting point. You need somewhere to start from. I mean, that was the conclusion that Manuel and I came to in the Awakening from the Meaning Crisis Discord YouTube. We've got that talk on the religion that is not a religion. And in the first one, we were talking about credo and creed and dogma. And that's what we came to is you need a starting point. You need it. You're not doing without it.
Yeah.
The problem is when you don't move past it or whatever, when you're stuck with it and you can't open, again, and this is the valid critique from the new atheists, although as near as I can tell, they're not talking about Catholics, because I never met Catholics who were stuck the way fundamentalists are. But yeah, you have to be able to move past these things and not to rely on them solely for your arguments.
I don't think the atheist problem with is so much with dogma. I think it's dogmatic people. I think it's the people who Christ was referring to that couldn't handle the new wine because they're old wineskins. I think it's the people that he said, ye search the scriptures because in them you think there's life.
Someone in the YouTube comments defined dogma as a gating mechanism, and I would say that the new atheists are more concerned about any gating mechanism. They believe that there's a merit that can be measured, and that's all people should be merited by, and not by creeds, essentially. But that depends on the exact definition of dogma. So.
Yeah, but I think you have a point with focusing in on dogmatic people, because one point that came to mind listening to Sam Harris is that, well, is the straw man argument, right? You're just taking the straw man of Christians, but then specifically, it's Pageau's point about the hierarchy of manifestation that he makes when he's talking with Peterson, right? Christianity is scalable because its ideas can be understood in different ways throughout the hierarchy, but even though they're different, they're coherent, and they're all true in a sense, right? And so Sam Harris doesn't realize that he's not looking at the top of the hierarchy of manifestation, right? Now, when I thought that, I'm like, okay, why were the William Lane Craigs and people like him, who are supposedly at the top of the hierarchy of manifestation, why were they not getting traction with Sam, and why was Sam not getting traction with him, right? And that's a current question I have right now. It's like, is it because the operating system is modernity, and we need to move into a Pageauian, Bavikian, etc. operating system? Or is it something more basic, like talking past each other or something? I don't know.
I'd like to add that when Sam was talking that whole time, he put off a lot of the same energy that I get from David Bentley Hart and George MacDonald. So, as far as their stance on organized religion, I guess you would say, confessional religions.
Yep, I've had atheists try to convert me. So that's the thing.
There's so much to not believe in, though.
Well, also the interesting thing is a lot of atheists that I came across who were the most evangelical in the way they were trying to bring me over to their side. They were ex-evangelicals. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you can switch over what you believe, but you still have that same tenacity and that, like, no, I remember asking, like, why, like, you know, why do you want me to come over? Like, what, you know, what does it hurt, you know? And he's like, I think it's just you need to, just truths. You need to know that it doesn't matter that we're dead and then dead, and who cares? Like, that's the end. But I'm like, but life well lived, can't I have a life well lived even if I do have the no? But it's better lived if you have the truth, and it just sounds so evangelical to me.
Prove it.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I mean, I met a guy in Clubhouse a while back who was one of the most dogmatic people ever, and then he's very science. You know, science says this and science says, and he was wrong about almost all of it, by the way. But you know, he's like, science definitely says this and science definitely says that. I'm like, that's there's a lot more there. You're missing some nuance. And he told his story. He's a fundamentalist Christian at some point, and he ditched the whole thing. And the dogma is still there. It's just located in the science. So that you know, he just became dogmatic about science instead of dogmatic
People's
about
personalities don't change. Yeah, it's just or an upbringing and all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it. Casey, did you find the your definition there for dogma?
Well, the church basically states that it's truths that have been revealed by revelation that have been articulated, and these are our lights on the path. Right? You can go off the lights on the path, but you're gonna end up in darkness. So there's something to keep you from running astray, basically. Like, these are the starting points. You can follow along here, but you can continue. This is our, you know, I think, what did Chesterton call it? A fence, right? This is the fence we can play in.
But you move past them. Yeah.
Can I tell you my story real quick? It won't take long.
Yeah,
This
sure.
is related.
Love to hear it.
Okay, so, and of course it starts with a woman. We broke up. Previous girlfriend. We broke up. And the reason, and I still don't, I mean, I understand it now, but I didn't understand then. She said I needed to find my identity in Christ, is what she said. And that, because I really thought that God wanted me to marry her. And so that began the whole questioning thing. Like, okay, well, how do you really know God's will? And that got me into the atheist-theist debate scene, the whole Christian apologetics scene. And then I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing at the time, but I began emptying my mind of everything I couldn't rationally justify. And then basically I began building two towers, one on the theist side and one on the atheist side, using a foundationalist epistemology. And again, I'm a carpenter, not a philosopher, so I'm learning this stuff as I go. So I construct those two towers, and I'm thinking, okay, one of them is going to win, but that didn't happen. I just constructed two worldviews in my head, and that led to what only thing I can describe as true agnosticism. Like, we really don't know what's happening. And I would describe that as the outer darkness, because I've heard it described as limbo. You don't believe in anything at all. Completely nihilistic. But it's an unwilling nihilism. It's like, you don't want to believe this. You just want to know the truth. So, some key memories are, I remember being in bed, just absolutely in despair. And just crying out to everyone, to no one. I didn't believe in anything. And I just said, I don't care what's true. I just want to know what's true. because I knew that I couldn't guide my life unless I knew it was true. So, and then, you know, while doing marijuana, you kind of have all kinds of crazy experiences. So the thing of it is that these experiences aren't narrativeless. They fit a narrative. They fit the Christian narrative that I'm apparently in, because I don't really feel like I'm in control of my life, but I do feel like I have momentum and it's carrying me to a good place. That makes sense. So this is really taken somebody who has lived in the propositional world and then got destroyed by it, and now finds himself in an experiential world.
So what do you want?
Say again?
So what do you want?
What do I want?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm in for the journey. Like, I don't know. It's like Peter says, I got... Who else has the words of life?
Okay.
Like, as far as I'm concerned, Peugeot has a theory of everything at the highest level. Because it includes everything. It includes wisdom. It includes science. I mean, it is the remedy to the nihilism. I'll tell you this. The perfect medicinal remedy to a fractured soul is the name written in white stone. It's also the greatest energy drink. You can find that in Revelations. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking to Peugeot about tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm still pretty fractured right now. I'm healed, fractured still.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have a church you're going to?
No, but I have visited a St. Gregory of Nyssa about half a dozen times, and a St. Barnabas. So, they know me. I've been there. Because apparently God wasn't done after he healed my mind, because I went straight back into religion, and he sent a terrible thorn to me, because, you know, my addiction to pornography just went skyrocketed. And I've been ruled by both light and darkness this whole time. So this is really oh, and you know, I have a condition that requires treatment in order to live even remotely normally. And medical is the lesser evil, to be honest.
And you just bleeped out, what is the lesser evil?
The medical marijuana is the lesser treatment, or lesser evil treatment. So, I mean, seriously, like, I don't really want to shave 15 years off my life. So,
yeah.
Take stuff.
Well, I really do hope that you can land in a church, and that you can get a pastor, and you can have a community around you, because, you know, there's no video, there's no YouTube answer man that's just going to kind of, you know, zap your life, and to have some people walking with you, and, you know, because there's a lot to work through and to sort out.
I do have a few people that I have met through your estuary, like locally.
Good.
So
cool.
So yeah, you have helped me out there. We try to meet once a month, and there's 3 of us right now. A 4th is potentially coming. So
okay, good.
Nice.
Yeah, that has really helped me anchor. There's a lot to work through and to sort out. I do have
the talk. I mean, I'd love to watch it whenever you put it up, your Peugeot talk.
If it gets recorded.
Oh, sorry. If it gets recorded.
Yeah.
I also have a 1 hour with Karen Wong from the Meeting Code next week.
Oh, good. Yeah.
So apparently I'm getting pulled into the gravity of this thing.
You're making the rounds, baby. Now I just got to do is free up some more rando slots.
Yeah, as you see, I really wanted to talk to you, but I was also still cooking, so I didn't know what I needed to talk to you about.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Peugeot, let's just say that my experience led to ego death, and Peugeot was the next person I found. So most of my world, I live in the Christian world. I don't know how else to describe it. There is no doubt in me
Yeah.
whatsoever. I don't know if that's pride or what, but I don't have any doubt. So
Well, thank
God
you for your
pretty
story. I really
yeah.
appreciate you sharing it. And, this is part of the reason why I like doing the randos conversations, because then it can just be the two of us and then we can talk, but I can only do that. I can only do so many of them a week. So that's kind of the way it
Yeah.
goes.
Hard to get a slot on your end thing.
Yeah. Yeah. But I
But
do.
I mean, you can't be everywhere, man. You're one dude.
Was a popular guy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's Santa. Look at that beard.
All you need to pick one day a week where you just make 6 3-hour videos, and then the rest of the week you have rando slots.
Oh my gosh, that
I have a
sounds
question for the room.
So who has a question? Chad?
Chad the alcoholic. Chad, hi, I'm Chad. I'm the alcoholic.
Hi, Chad.
I was wondering if we can get a general idea of what each of you around the table here. How do you each of you maximize your meaning in your life? Like, what do you? Is it something you do? Is it something you read, or what is that all about for you? How would you? Yeah, how would you best lay that out if you had a minute to say it or whatever?
Maximize meaning, right?
Yes.
Meaning.
Yes.
Okay.
Meaning. Yep. Like, what makes it all worth it?
Boy, I hate going first. I'll do it though. I'll bite the bullet. I think for me, the interface that I have with the people on the Verveki Discord server and on BOM, that interaction and being able to uh, uh, talk with people about what they're doing and what they're feeling and what their story is and how they integrate that in their life, and see what results from that, because a lot of stuff has resulted, say, from our meditation, which is going on 2 years now from the Verveki live stream. uh, uh, that's brought a lot of richness to me and a lot of sense of meaning. Talking about the meaning crisis can give you meaning, or rather practicing the practices around, we'll say, fixing the meaning crisis, which is more about the meditation series than it is about the about the 50 hours itself. So that's my pitch on that one.
For me, it's my relationship with God. Just being able to pray every day and know that everything in my life flows from that relationship, and that it doesn't. My sufferings are known and they're accounted for. They really do have meaning. There is an ultimate purpose, and it's in a relationship with the good, who really will direct everything to good. And I know that. And that really does make everything that I do in my entire life meaningful. And I can get that if people are skeptical of that, that's fine, but it just seems true to me.
Okay.
Well, I'll just say that Christ rescued me from hell, so I follow him. That's what gives me meaning. In whatever way I can.
Good, Topher.
So
Go ahead.
no. I've talked too much. You go, Topher.
I thought that was Nikimo was about to talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think it's such an interesting question. I think I've come to a lot of the things that are very meaningful to me through loss or near loss. just really clarifying, oh, this thing, I really love it. And it almost slipped away, or it's gone. Maybe I can find more of that. Or, and the times that that's happened in my life, kind of being forced in a position to take a really hard look and go, if I get through this, what do I want my time and focus? Am I giving this thing, because I've had a few sort of near-death experiences. There was one incident where I had a close call with my eyesight, and thank God everything is all right. I'm very grateful for that. But it allowed me to restructure. I remember when the thing with my eye happened, I had to confront the possibility that I could possibly not see. And I went, oh my God, if I have 3 weeks to see, what do I want to see? And I just started making a list, you like in those movies, and you're like, oh, I want to see these mountains. And if I never saw this thing in my life, I'd be just totally distraught. And so those kind of experiences have totally reinformed my relationships, my environment, the country that I'm living in, all of these things, the kind of work that I do, who I'm willing to work for, how much I'm willing to work for. So I would say a lot of my meaning and value from life has come from loss. Yeah.
Do you feel comfortable sharing some of the things that were on that list?
Yeah. 2015, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and my large intestine just completely disintegrated.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, it happens sometimes. And so that, there was a really dicey week there where, I remember going to sleep every night going, I don't know if I'm going to open my eyes. This is oof, And with all the medical details, quite frankly, it amazes me that I'm alive. If I go through the actual facts, I cannot come up with a reasonable explanation as to how I'm alive. So that's a pretty incredible thing. I feel very lucky. I do sometimes wake up and I'm like, what's going on? Am I dreaming? So there was that. I had my intestine removed. I had to have another subsequent surgery after that. I had an ulcer in my eye. So a lot of sort of health medical stuff that I think not everybody experiences at a young age, or necessarily experiences. Yeah. Things like that. So there's been a lot of silver lining, because in many ways before that, I was putting up with a lot of misery. And I didn't realize it was my choice. I didn't realize that these were it was more everybody else's fault and that whole thing. And then I realized, no, I'm choosing all of these things. I can change it, So I feel a lot more agency. I feel a lot more divinity, all of these things. So, yeah.
As a loose tangent from there, my dad has diabetes and he's slowly going blind. And in a similar way, I'm currently planning a trip to try to take him to go and see some of the places that he has always wanted to see before his eyesight gets too bad. So in a similar way, just being forced to seize those things that you want to experience and see while you still can.
Yeah. I live on the beach now, on the Mediterranean. It's like, what?
Wow.
It's like, it's crazy. And I wake up every morning, I'm like, whoa, Yeah. So Topher, where are you guys going? Did I miss that?
No, we're headed into the desert. He's always been fascinated by the American Southwest, and so we're headed to Arizona, Utah. Maybe it might make sense to. Hopefully, it'll make sense to drive back up through kind of like Yellowstone, Mount Rushmore, the Grand Teton Mountains or Teton Mountains range and stuff like that. So, kind of southwest and then north and then back across to Canada, which is where I am, or I'm in Toronto specifically.
Oh wow, that's awesome. It's a big trip.
An ambitious trip. We'll see.
Good luck. That'd be great.
To answer Chad's question though, for me, rocking my daughter to bed while kind of contemplating existence would be my answer.
Time to
pipe up from the cheap seats for a second. I think that meaning is sort of, it's basically the same thing as being based, kind of. It's when you accept that what you're doing in your day-to-day life is sort of, it's real, it actually has value. So, like, your really tough day at job, you're like, no, I was actually fighting a demon, like, with my full armor and all this sort of stuff. Like, actually believing more. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say it kind of varies from like what space I'm in. The first, I'd say from 2017 to 2020, I was really finding meaning through conversation. But since the past, I'd say 2 years, I've been really like honing in the participatory of like the feminine arts, finding meaning just like through my knitting, and also I've noticed the past, I'd say, I don't even know what it was that sparked it, but just being a little bit more present with my kids, like watching myself. It's easy to say, yeah, being present with my kids, but like actually like going up to I have 3 sons, going up to them and be like, hey, I love you, and here's a little thing specifically to you that is just you. Like just trying to be more present, and like here's I'm giving you nurturing. Like I'm not just like, oh, here's your lunch for school, and like, oh, I'm not just watching it go by. I'm trying to be more specific with my mothering.
Yeah.
So one of the difficult things sometimes, we took videotapes when the kids were little, and that had to be videotapes. We didn't have smartphones, but I'll tell you, sometimes I watch those videos and I think I was not present enough. I did not value, because the strange things about your children, my wife and I were just talking about this the other day.
Enzo.
The strange thing about your children is that they disappear and they grow up, but those little pint-sized creatures that used to inhabit my house that you just love with all your heart, they're gone. And they're inside my kids today, and I've been blessed that all my kids are alive and they're all healthy. But I would, what I wouldn't give to pop back into 2002 or 1999, and because I can in my mind, each one of my kids, I can basically sort of feel still, their little bodies, and gosh, it's powerful stuff. And one of the things that blows me away is when I listen to people, they're like, don't want to have children. I think, really? You have no idea. You have no idea the glory and the mystery and the power in that. And to just say, nah. I mean, I'll take my kids over. I mean, I love going to the mountains and looking at scenery and going outdoors. I love that. Take my kids over that any day. So.
Yeah, that was one of my regrets of not having any kids. But we're trying.
There's some fun in that.
And if all else fails, you can always be the uncle, the alcoholic uncle to the Discord kids.
You'd be one heck of a fun uncle too. I can tell.
That's a cool uncle. I mean, I have 5 nephews and 1 on the way. So
all right, good. Well, I hope your children are a blessing. I hope you're blessed with them. So many of the biggest blessings are also weighty. I mean, that's the thing. Again, I think our culture, the dogmas of our culture, does not appreciate. So many of the biggest blessings are weighty. Relationships are weighty, and the more consequential the relationship, the more weighty, but the more potential for glory within that relationship. So, I mean, you can see this in shallow ways. You wanna be a great guitar player, you're gonna have to practice. It's weighty, and
well, to quote Tom Hanks in A League of Their Own, it's the hard that makes it great. So that's
good.
That was my
There is no
impression of
crying
Tom
in
Hanks.
baseball.
There's no crying in baseball. You can
Well, I
cry
wasn't
in the
quoting
Discord.
that.
You can cry in the Discord, Andrea. Don't worry. Your
well,
tears
we
are welcome
can-
here.
Well, I managed to hold them back, but it is the hard that makes it great.
It is. It is. Well, folks, I have to run, so I'm going to end the live stream. So all of you out there in internet land, if you want to, sorry, I'm painting with sounds. I didn't get your weighty question. I will do questions and answers on Friday. We've sort of moved it to 11 o'clock because that's when Rick he's got a meeting at 10 and he's got a day job now. You know, imagine the inconvenience of Rick getting a day job and, you know.
How rude.
So we do it at 11 o'clock, and you can, if you find your way onto the Discord, you can have it, write it down, and I've caught up on my questions, so it won't be too far. But if you love this kind of conversation, and thank you, he's left the room, for your story, Indominus. Mark said, the Discord's been hopping lately. Almost every time I just sort of pop in, there's like 10, 15 people in a room chatting. So that's what I love to see. I was on Unbelievable today with Justin Brierley, and we were talking with a fun guy who runs like a ethical center, comes out of a 19th century Jewish guy who didn't want to deal with God, but kind of founded a quasi-religious movement, and the movement's basically dying, and this guy was pretty cool. So we had a fun time with Justin Brierley, but you know, we talked about the fact that we do need spaces. And I mean, one of the things that is the coolest is, I mean, you all make the Discord. The Discord is made of all of you. Yeah, there are some moderators, and we should give them credit, and we should, give them thanks for doing the work that Joey and others do. But it's you all and your presence here that really make this awesome. So thank you all.
Thank you, Paul.
What's that,
Chad? Video coming on my channel.
Barbecues and touring.
And hopefully at some point we'll be able to do this much more in real life than just online, because I'm really looking forward to that. So, all right, everyone. It was so good to see you. Thanks for you online folks for checking in, and stay in the room. Enjoy. Keep talking.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.